Well, here's what it means, I believe, for a Christian thinker to have a short-sighted worldview. It means we can't see things that are far away. It's called myopia. Several years ago when I was younger, I was a pilot, and I had to go in for an annual examination. And one year I went in, and he said, "Look at this eye chart." And I could barely see anything on the chart. I couldn't see things that are far away. That's a big problem for a pilot. And it's really a big problem for a Christian thinker, to not be able to see the big picture. And as I've been thinking about it, I think I can identify at least 3 types of worldview myopia, or short-sightedness. First is what I would call epistemological myopia. It's a failure of knowledge. It's a failure to recognize that Christ is the Lord of all knowledge, of all of life, of everything. And it's short-sighted in that it thinks that Christ is only Lord of the spiritual world, as important as those are, but it thinks Christ's lordship is only about praying and reading the Bible and going to church, and thus forgetting the massive scope, actually all-encompassing scope of Christ's lordship. So that's epistemological myopia. I've also observed what I would call a missiological myopia. I've been involved in worldview conferences and reading books for over 30 years. And interestingly enough, very few Christian worldview books say anything about the global God that we serve. It's like, oh, we're academics. And those missionaries, that's something else. That's what other people do. Well, that's missiological myopia. Because if we talk about a Christian worldview, the center of that worldview rightly should be Christ, who made it clear he wants everyone to hear the message and to respond. He wants everybody to serve him. But missiological myopia means we're not aware of that. It's a short-sightedness. But tragically, even in my own life, I've observed a third kind of myopia, and that is what I simply call spiritual myopia. It's, I gladly talk about the breadth of a Christian worldview, but maybe he's not Lord of every part of my life. So it's a short-sightedness in seeing Christ's lordship sink down and permeate every part of my being. So I think as Christian thinkers, we need to be acutely aware that we can be short-sighted and blind, essentially, in our epistemology, or in our missiology, or tragically, even more tragically, in our own spiritual life.